again, and the picture couldn't be more opposite to the Hinrunde, as we say in Germany, the first half of the season. So for Dortmund, it's really always an uphill battle fighting with Bayern. They've been pretty decent at home against Bayern in the last few years. Beat them, for example, in the Super Cup, the first game of the season this year, beat them in arguably the game of the season last year. Fans around. Dortmund won their first ghost game, as we say in Germany, against Schalke, pretty comprehensively and easily, but Schalke really aren't the measuring stick at the moment. So usually I would give Dortmund the upper hand just because of the home field factor, but nowadays with no fans allowed, it might be purely about quality in the team, and there probably Bayern have to have the edge.
It's probably quite difficult to call matches at the moment, isn't it? I mean, I realise the table tells you, it doesn't lie, does it? It tells you the teams that are better than other teams ultimately in a season. But with this return to action, I mean, I actually thought Bayern looked I watched Bayern last Sunday, so their first match back, and I was, on Monday, wasn't it? I was really impressed with Bayern, but actually didn't quite look up to speed. But then maybe it's just the lack of noise that makes me think that it feels a little bit slower or a little bit less exciting.
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, the teams that were in a good run of form ahead of the lockdown, that took the Bundesliga, I think, 9 weeks to return to the pitch. Most of the teams that were in a good run of form before are still in a good run of form. So Dortmund had won, I think, 6 games on the spin, Bayern obviously, but also Bayer Leverkusen, who won against Gladbach yesterday in the biggest game of this match day, arguably. So it seems like it's really down to the pure quality in these teams, which kind of makes sense, I think, because you take out the extraneous factors. But then again, this is strength on strength on Tuesday with Dortmund beating Bayern. I mean, these are the two on the side if you look at the individual players on the pitch. So maybe this actually comes down to a draw or maybe one individual mistake making both teams on paper should be relatively evenly matched in Dortmund.
Yeah, look, there's been a lot of talk of Dortmund, Bayern, and I think the game that got this yesterday sort of slightly was Bayer Leverkusen, who are a very attack-minded team, going to Mönchengladbach, getting a great result, and then midfielder that just can't stop scoring because, again, he gets goals, and a lot of talk in England about the 20-year-old kid, Havertz, is it? So, tell us a bit more about it.
It's Havertz, and I think you should learn this name because it seems fairly likely that he's going to end up in the Premier League at some point. I think his game really suits. I think his game really suits England. He's really dynamic. He's a bit like Michael Ballack back in the day of Chelsea back in the day, in that he's a physical midfielder that likes to advance up the pitch. Right now for Leverkusen, he's playing in like a false 9 role because their main strikers are out injured. So he's come back with a bang after lockdown with 2 braces, I think. In total, he scores 8 goals in the second half of the season now, which is 10 games old. So that tells you he's been on a tear in terms of scoring. And in Germany, many people consider him to be, the talent of the century or whatever. I mean, he's only 20 years old, I think, but he's been around for so long that you would easily be forgiven for thinking he's like 23 or so. I mean,
Lars Pollmann, the German football journalist, joining Georgie Bingham and Tony Cascarino there. Right, kick-off just around the corner. It comes next. Our early start, the first of 3 commentary today from the Bundesliga on TalkSport 2.
You're listening to TalkSport 2 Live.
Sports Fans United with Hawksby and Jacobs on TalkSport with Renault Pro Plus. Ready for anything. It's your essential review of all the week's biggest and best sports stories. Don't miss the Feel Good Friday feature dedicated to showcasing the hard work, commitment and generosity of our sporting community's absolute champions. Sports Fans United, tackling tough as a team. Friday afternoon from 1 over on TalkSport with Renault Pro Plus. Ready for anything. Search Renault Vans or visit renault.co.uk/fans.
Save £202 with the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus 5G from Vodafone and claim a free Galaxy Watch Active worth £199. Whether you're checking in on mum or smashing quiz night, do it all with unlimited data from the UK's best mobile data network. Keeping the UK ready, Vodafone.
210 megabits per second max speed applied to unlimited plans. 5G speed only on unlimited max. Contracts apply. Hence 26th of May, 24-month plans only. For terms and award verification, see Vodafone.co.uk.
Do you know an NHS worker who's gone above and beyond? Think they should be rewarded or given a special honour? Turn NHS staff into superstars by nominating them for an award at the Sun's Who Cares Wins Awards 2020. Nominate your NHS star for an award today at thesun.co.uk/whocareswins.
Like Lotto? Then you'll love 2 bets for 50p on Mini Lotto at Lottoland. That's right, 2 bets for 50p. Just pick 5 numbers from 42 and bet for a daily £80,000 jackpot. Sit back, relax and place your bets at lottoland.co.uk. 18 and over. Offer for new customers only and may only be used once. Offer ends December 31st, 2020. Terms apply. BeGambleAware.org.
There are a lot of things you can do to help save the world right now. Like puzzles, learning how to bake, and napping. Help save humanity by really not getting anywhere near it. Learn about the World Health Organization's 5 ways to fight back against COVID-19 at the WHO website.
At Lidl, we're getting our grill on, indoors or outdoors, because we're always big on summer. We're big on deluxe Scotch beef quarter pounders at $2.99 for 4, and a pack of 2 meat-free burgers at $1.99. Winner of the Good Housekeeping Approved Taste Test. Now that's big on quality, and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes NI.
Max is dreaming of riding a giant chameleon whilst fighting a clan of ninjas. But in reality, he's helping fight COVID-19 in his sleep. Like thousands of others, he's joined the Dream Team. By using the Dream Lab app, they're helping scientists speed up the search for potential treatments.
I'll fight you.
You go, Max. Search Vodafone Dream Lab and join the Dream Team tonight.
DreamLab app is owned by Vodafone Foundation, an independent charity. Registration number 1089625. Full times at vodafone.co.uk/dreamlab.
On DAB digital radio, online and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport 2 live.
3 live commentaries from the Bundesliga this afternoon throughout today on TalkSport 2. Let's cross now to our commentary team of Toby Gillis and Chris Perry for our coverage of Schalke versus Augsburg. This Bundesliga commentary being broadcast in association of the Bundesliga. And don't forget, you can watch every Bundesliga match on BT Sport.
Schalke, the place, or Gelsenkirchen, if you know that part of Germany, they are the big favourites for this one, ahead of Augsburg, perennial relegation strugglers, and always punching above their weight, really, by staying in the Bundesliga. But we fear that we have lost some of the most talented players that Schalke has. Jean-Claire Todibo, the man who came in from Barcelona to guide their defence, albeit if he's been struggling since arriving. And Amin Arit, their most creative midfielder, out of the side today. Those 2 of 3 changes. Benito Raman, the Belgian forward, also missing today. In their places, Alessandro Schöpf, Mikhail Gregoric. Could be a big story today. He's the man on loan from Augsburg, really fell out with the club that he faces today. He starts, as does Rabbi Matondo, the Liverpool-born Welshman. In fact, that's 2 Scousers in the Schalke starting 11, with John Joe Kenny at right back. Could be any number of formations for Schalke, who have been playing 3 at the back. We think it'll be 4 today. We'll wait until it starts really, but I'm going 4-4-2 for now. They have the young goalkeeper Marcus Schubert in goal. John Joe Kenny, Salim Sane, Matija Nastasic and Bastian Achipka at the back. Daniel Caligiuri, Suat Serdar, Weston McKennie and Alessandro Schöpf in midfield. And Mikhail Gregoric and Rabbi Matondo, the strikers. Augsburg, they make 2 changes from defeat to Wolfsburg. Manek Suchi, the centre-half, and Daniel Bayer, the club skipper and midfielder, drop out. Felix Urukai and Carlos Grueso come in their places. So Andreas Luther is the goalkeeper. The back four, Rafael Framberger, Tim Yenvai, Felix Urukai and Philip Max. Carlos Grueso, Rani Kadira in midfield. Then Marco Richter, Eduard Leuven and Ruben Vargas in behind Florian Niederlechner, as the ground and all of those in it fall silent for the victims of the coronavirus. Our referee just about to get into place, Sasha Stegemann, to adhere this 1 minute silence. quietly observed, as you would expect from an empty Veltins arena, as we get ourselves underway on this second Sunday of the return of the Bundesliga. Schalke in desperate need of turning things around. There's actually a story this week about how they're looking hard for investors because they are almost 200 million euros in debt, but they are being encouraged to win with a bit more style to get those investors attracted in the club. We wait to see if that happens. Heiko Herrlich, of course, in charge of Augsburg for the first time, who get us underway and try a clever kick-off from Florian Niederlechner, trying to find Eduard Löwen, but his pass goes awry right from the very start. And Schalke shooting from left to right in their blue jerseys, white shorts and blue socks. Had it with their goalkeeper, long ball away, takes a little flick on. It's a throw-in over on the far side to Augsburg, who today are playing in all red. Throw in over on the right-hand side for Raphael Framberger. And for the first time today, we bring in Chris Perry, the former Premier League centre-half, who is watching alongside me, Toby Gillis, for full 90-minute commentary of this one. And Chris, it'll be interesting to see whether Augsburg, who are known really for being counter-punchers, shall we say, that are not necessarily those that like to take control of the football, whether there's a big change in that system under Heiko Herrlich.
Well, they've certainly started on the front foot in terms of trying to press Schalke high up the pitch and not let them play out comfortably from the back. And that's a start. The first thing I noticed was that Schalke have set up as a back four with Kenny and Zipka at fullback.
We certainly have, as there's a foul there on Matija Nastasic by Florian Niederlechner, this striker getting into the later years of his career, now at 29. I suppose you might call that his peak, really, wouldn't you? And you would argue with 11 goals this season and still plenty of time to go to add to that tally. Perhaps he may well have a personal best Bundesliga campaign. He needs just one more to do so. Markus Schubert, the goalkeeper, takes the free kick up towards Gregoritsch. Augsburg will know all about him. Now Schurf works it to the right-hand side for Caligiuri. On towards Kenny. That's come off of Kenny last. And that's good composure by Grueso, making sure that he tells Udokai, don't touch the ball. It's come off of Kenny last. He was absolutely right. Goes behind for the goal kick. And 2 minutes gone, it's Schalke 0, Augsburg 0, and a goal kick for Andreas Luther, the Augsburg keeper, with Heiko Herrlich, this shaven-headed coach in shirt and grey jumper, fresh from what I'm calling, Chris, Colgate.
Very, very good. Very good. I mean, we speculated, didn't we, whether Schalke would start with two up front. It looks like Ravi Matondo's playing pretty close to Michael Gregoritsch, so it does look almost like a 4-4-2 for Schalke. Very old-fashioned, very attacking, but maybe against Augsburg you can afford to be that.
Yeah, big man, little man, really. Matondo with the pace running off of Gregoritsch, who will get flicks, will win headers. It'll be interesting to see. At the moment, it's Schalke very much in the forefront of any attacking play, with a Chipka over on the left-hand side, midpoint of the Augsburg half, comes back into his own half for Nastasic, and now it's Salih Sane, the centre-half, who made a return from a long injury last week against Dortmund. To be fair, he did all right, I thought, in a 3 at the back, but he's going to have to do a bit more work today, I think, in the 2. Be gutted they've lost to Debo Schalke. May not be too serious an injury as Gregoritsch lays off to Matondo. That's a nice lead by Serdar, but his shirt running into trouble. Too many red shirts, but he's worked it left for Gregoritsch. There's his cross. Oh, and I think it might have been intended to dip underneath the goalkeeper and into the back post. It was not far away from going in. Tried to wrap his foot around it, didn't get the bend, and Luther had to be alert to just tip that one wide, and we have the first corner of the game for Schalke.
Yeah, he certainly didn't mean to shoot the goal, but it almost turned into a really awkward moment there.
Yeah, cross shot, really. And I think you're right, I gave him a bit too much credit initially. Probably was not intentional, but he towers over everybody as this set piece is readied for Schalke. Plenty of bodies in the box to aim for. It's towards the back post. Header away is by Udokai. A Chipka comes across to Serdar, 25 yards from goal. His ball into the box, a bit aimless. Cleared away by Augsburg, who so far, Chris, are very much happy to just soak up the pressure and clear the ball with very little outball available to them further up the field.
Absolutely. It's typical of most teams. When you go away from home, you want to keep it tight in the first 15, 20 minutes, not concede anything, so you sit a little bit deeper and try and make yourself difficult to play against. I think one noticeable thing when Schalke had that last attack where Gregoritsch had the shot was both Matondo and Gregoritsch naturally drifted out to the left-hand side, and when Gregoritsch put his head up to cross the ball, there was hardly anyone in the box.
McKennie gives the ball away in midfield and then challenges Niederlechner, but it's run loose again. Here they come with Richter. Now Leuven. It won't quite break for Augsburg, although there might have been a foul challenge in there. There was on Khedira, and it's a free kick in what would be the very maximum range, I would have thought, of shooting possibilities.
They have got Philip Max, very, very good at these, isn't he?
They certainly have. It was Scherpf that stood on the outstretched right leg of Rani Khedira.
And it is Philip Max who's placed the ball down with intent, hasn't he? He's certainly got the ability to go for goal from here.
Without a doubt, the outstanding Augsburg player is their number 31. Funnily enough, formerly of Schalke, is Philip Max, part of their youth setup. Played just a couple of times for the first team before moving on to Karlsruhe and then eventually to Augsburg. It's almost bang centre, just a shade to the right, might well favour his left foot. Richter and Leuven also over it, but surely you don't leave this to anyone bar the free kick specialist that is Philip Max. Nearly 6 minutes gone, and of course, as I say that, goodness me, that's a stunning goal, and it wasn't Max that went for it, it was Edouard Leuven who's given the away side the lead. That is a spectacular free kick by Edouard Leuven. The man on loan from Hertha Berlin has given Augsburg a lead with their first shot of the game. Stunning free kick, high over the wall. The goalkeeper Markus Schubert diving to his right, got fingertips to it, but they weren't strong enough. He couldn't keep it out. Wonderful opener for Augsburg.
It's a brilliant free kick from Leuven. I think there was a little bit of the surprise element. I think everyone expected Philip Max to run up and take it, and certainly Markus Schubert did, and he was over to that side of the goal just a little bit too much, gave Edouard Leuven just a little bit to aim at to his right-hand side, and boy did he aim it well. That was an absolutely perfect free kick over the wall into the top corner.
Schalke, remember, have scored just one goal in their last 5 games. They now need to score twice to win this one, for which they were very much the favourites. They're in the worst form in the league, and Augsburg, well, goodness me. I mean, Philip Max was probably thinking, surely I should take this, surely I should take this. And then suddenly at the last moment, as you mentioned, Leuven with the strike, absolutely beautiful. But at the other end, Schalke have got themselves a free kick in not too dissimilar a position, but the problem they've got is no left-footed player. It's just a little bit more to the right. So Caligiuri presumably will bend this one into the area. Left arm goes into the sky. It is a bent ball in. Leuven heads away out to the left-hand side. It's Ruben Vargas that picks it up. Is that a foul on Caligiuri down by the byline? It is. Vargas a little bit careless there with the ball running towards the byline, and he's given a yellow card for his trouble as well, Chris.
Careless is the right word there, Toby. I mean, it's silly from him. He needs to be making sure he does better with the initial clearance. It's blocked, and then he's chasing back to try and stop the cross coming in, and fouls Caligiuri. It's a really dangerous position to give it away a free kick and a yellow card early on in the game as well.
Ruben Vargas, who came in for what appears to be a bit of a bargain, 2.7 million euros last summer from Lucerne in Switzerland, and he's taken to the Bundesliga like a duck to water. Caligiuri over this free kick, bending away towards Sane, looped up into the sky, Udokai underneath it, comes back in from Scherpf. I think that'll bounce out towards Niederlechner inside his own 18-yard box, and he clears it away down the left-hand side. And inevitably Richter will chase it, but he won't get there. I think it's Kenny's there first, and it's back with the goalkeeper, Markus Schubert. Just a question, Chris, about Schubert's role in that goal. He was flying to his right-hand side. He didn't get fingers to it. Wondered if he might have done better, or am I being harsh?
I think it was so central, and it's very difficult for goalkeepers when it's central. And he almost took a step to his left-hand side initially because he expected Philip Max to be taking it and bending it that way with his left foot, and that was what cost him. the fact that he was a little bit too far over to his left-hand side of the goal and he couldn't quite make up the yardage, hence he only got fingertips to it rather than a strong palm.
Max slides the ball out of play on this near side, the Schalke right for the Royal Blues throw in. Beaten 4-0 away to Dortmund in the derby last week. This is a game that you would expect them to be far more competitive in. Here's Schürpf. McKennie, oh, he's given it away poorly again to Richter. Niederlechner takes over. Runners left and right. You might move it out to the right-hand side here. What's the cross like? Low ball in, comes back out, but Serdar picks up, and then he is fouled in the midfield by Khedira, and it's a free kick to Schalke. Bang on 10 minutes. They are 1-0 down.
Yeah, it was a poor cross, wasn't it, from Framberg. Had a real opportunity with 3 or 4 bodies in the box to whip it in with a bit of quality, but just dragged it along the floor, and Rani Khedira made sure that there was no counter-attack opportunity for Schalke, giving away the free kick.
Augsburger, born and bred, Raphael Framberger. He needed to do better in that position as Kenny takes the ball on the near side. There's a late challenge by Leuven on Salif Sane, and he's taken a real whack to the right ankle there as the Senegalese.
I think he's okay. I don't think it's too bad. Heiko Herrlich watches on, interestingly, to see if there's going to be a yellow card for Leuven. I don't think there is. It's just a talking to from Sasha Stegemann. It's almost a follow-through, actually. It's not too bad. It's a free kick, but nothing more.
He does get his studs just a little bit off the ground onto the side of his foot, but David Wagner appealing for more than just the free kick. He doesn't get it. And there are just certainly beginning to be the first shred of doubts about David Wagner at Schalke. No doubt about that whatsoever, especially if you believe these stories in the media about the debt, and that was even before the coronavirus situation. They're talking of even outsourcing the business department of the club to try and raise their investment levels, and they're being outplayed at the moment. Niederlechner down the left-hand side, McKennie trying to get back at him, put hands on him. I think it was outside the box anyway, the first contact. Referee says no foul at all, at the same time that Chris Perry does, and it's Schürpf who emerges with the ball, moving it across to the left-back position, and Chipka has it in a little bit of space to slow play down. And Schalke just need, you feel, to get a grip and a handle on possession and try and force Augsburg into some defensive jobs.
I'm not quite sure about Weston McKennie's position. When they're in possession, he's almost playing like a third centre-back in the middle of Sane and Nastasic, and you kind of wonder whether he's actually good enough on the ball to play that. I mean, is he any better than Nastasic and Sane on the ball? I'm not sure he is.
The Texan has played in basically every position bar goalkeeper for Schalke. He would see himself very much as a central midfielder, like I guess a sort of a 6 or an 8, as they call them in Germany. There was certainly contact with Niederlechner there, but
not enough to bring him down. He was looking for it, wasn't he, Niederlechner? He was happy to go down, but it was a powerful run and a good move from Augsburg, and they're playing with confidence now.
Why not? Sane gives it to Nastasic on the left-hand side. Clip ball into the channel for Schürpf to try and bring under control. Cross comes Tinjedvaj, part of the Croatian World Cup squad that reached the final. Only played the once during the tournament, and still would be enough for a runners-up medal, and that's quite something for the man on loan from Bayer Leverkusen, who's enjoying his best run in a Bundesliga season on loan at Augsburg. Can he and they do enough to keep themselves up? I did notice something in preparing for this game, by the way, Chris. They've had just 4 points in the Rückrunde of the second half of the season so far. That is the fewest in the Bundesliga, Augsburg. But at this stage in the Hinrunde, they'd actually only got 7 points. And in fact, they still only had 7 points after they played Schalke. So if they were to win today, then they've got the same points at this stage of the second half of the season as they did in the first half. And for those of you joining us new to the Bundesliga, you do play the teams in the same order, first half and second half, as Matondo tries to break into the Schalke box. He's tackled there. So the point is that in the first half of the season, after this stage. They then got 16 points out of a possible 18.
Slow starters.
So
aren't they?
slow starters, but also when you look at the fixture list coming up, Paderborn at home, Hertha away, Cologne at home, Mainz away, Hoffenheim at home, Fortuna Düsseldorf away. They've only got Leipzig to play really in and around the top half of the table between now and the end of the season, and that's the final day. So I just wonder whether, they're actually about par given the teams that they've played. They've played all the big hitters.
Yeah, it makes sense, and it's certainly an easier, on paper anyway, run of fixtures. I mean, Hertha are in excellent form, actually.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to probably be more difficult than it was in the first half of the season, certainly, but
you take my point.
absolutely.
The fixture list was unkind at the start of the season, so really what do they expect? But, they dispensed with Martin Schmidt, their Swiss coach. They've gone for Heiko Herrlich as Ravi Matondo is caught
Really
offside.
poor from Matondo.
He's looking along the line.
Youth and inexperience, that's really poor from him. He can see everything, he can see right across the line, and he's quite clearly a yard offside. It's not even a foot, it's a yard.
He has been touted as an alternative signing for Manchester United to Jadon Sancho.
He's not quite in that class, I don't think, for me.
I'm not sure he ever will be, to be honest with you, and I don't mean, not many will be, to be fair.
I'll be fair to him, I've not seen enough of him to say whether he ever will be, but certainly at the moment he's nowhere near Jadon Sancho's level.
He had a game when he started the Riviera Derby against Dortmund in the first half of the season, where he was played up front again and he missed an awful lot of chances, and really the composure that Sancho has obviously had, even from when he broke into the team at 17 at Dortmund, is very, very much lacking. And I'm never totally sure, you answer this better than me, how much you can teach composure in front of goal.
It's almost not composure, it's decision making, and for me, Jadon Sancho makes the decisions correctly so many times when he gets into wide areas, and he has to pick the right person out to cross it to. He always picks the right person.
Matondo to Gregoric, can't quite turn it round the corner to Serdar, who made a good run, and I think Serdar may be the key for Schalke, this hard-running midfielder that took a season or so to get to grips with the way that Schalke wanted him to play, but he's enjoying his time under David Wagner, and he is their top scorer in the Bundesliga with 7 this season, and he's that proper box-to-box number 8.
He's very much in the style of Leon Goretzka, isn't he, a little bit? He was brought in, really, wasn't he, to replace Goretzka, and it took him a little while to do so, but he's starting to get the same sort of goals as Goretzka, making late runs into the penalty area.
Goretzka scored a wonderful example of that yesterday.
He controlled it so well, didn't he, the finish?
Pass into the box won't come from Matondo into a Chipka, but it's bounced away kindly for Schalke, and they've got themselves a throw in as we see Salif Sane playing a trick on Florian Niederlechner that worked, but I'm not totally sure it was actually meant as one. It just sold the dummy to Niederlechner as Chipka tries to be too cute and can't get the ball in to Serdar, but Schalke win it back high up the field, and here's McKennie dropping it back towards halfway, and Sane, now Nastasic, former Manchester City man of course, who left under the watch of Manuel Pellegrini to come to Germany, was actually left out of the 7-0 hammering by Manchester City in the Champions League last season, that arguably will have cemented his position even further for them. And you're absolutely right at the moment that McKennie is very much playing like a back three as Matondo goes chasing after a ball down the left-hand channel, and then a little trip by Schöpf over on the far side on Raphael Framberger, and it's a free kick to Augsburg, who are looking fairly comfortable after taking this 1-goal lead, even if they're not necessarily attacking too much themselves.
No, well,
one shot on goal.
Andreas Luther hasn't been tested at all, has he? I mean, there was the miss-hit cross from Gregoric, and that's about all he's had to deal with. Very comfortable opening 18 and a half minutes so far for Augsburg.
33-year-old goalkeeper making just his 4th Bundesliga appearance of the season. Yet to keep a clean sheet in the previous 3, but he's replaced Thomas Kubek, the Czech, who was brought in from Rennes in the summer to great fanfare, but has had so much trouble adapting to the Bundesliga that they're now questioning whether he'll ever be their number 1 again. Goodness me, it has been a season of keepers making errors in the Bundesliga, hasn't it? And this man, Schubert, in goal for Schalke, no shortage for him either, although the man he's replaced, Alex Nübel, who's off to Bayern in the summer, or whenever the transfer window does come about. I mean, he's played just as many, really, so they're sort of damned if they do and damned if they don't. But the keepers this season, for me, Chris, have either been brilliant or terrible. You know, across the Bundesliga, there's no one that's just having a sort of good season. It's either amazing or how on earth is he still in the team?
Absolutely, yeah. It's funny, you know, Newbell's a funny signing for me. He's never ever filled me with confidence, and the fact that he's going to Bayern to be number 2 really does surprise me.
Can't possibly be. Don't believe it. They've just given Neuer a new contract at Bayern, so no suggestion at the moment he'll be number 1. And I'll tell you what, Neuer's not staying as number 2.
Coaches.
A foul goes in on Philip Max in the left-back position for Augsburg by Schürpf, who's a busybody. In fact, it was Kenny that came in late on Max, but either way, free kick goes visitors' way. 20 minutes gone, Schalke 0, Augsburg 1 in this early kickoff in the Bundesliga. Do listen to Bundesliga audio via Alexa anytime. Just say open Bundesliga live or play the Bundesliga for match commentary and more. Free kick to be taken by Luther on the left-hand side. The goalkeeper wearing his luminous kit as we get ever more used to these Geisterspiele in Germany, the ghost games that across Europe I think we are expecting very much to have to accept. As the foul comes in on Vargas by Kenny.
He feels that it wasn't a foul, John Joe Kenny. He feels that Vargas has gone down a little bit easily, but he was just a little bit too eager, got too tight, bundled into the back of Vargas. It's a free kick, and it's the second one he's given away in very short period of time there, and a word from Sasha Stegemann that might be his last chance.
I'm wondering how John Joe Kenny's German sounds, or whether Stegemann is having to use English, and then he probably wouldn't understand Kenny with a Scouse accent either way. He's from Kirkdale, proper Liverpool that is, as Max delivers the ball in. Another great ball that, found Felix Udokai, didn't quite get proper contact. The offside flag has gone up anyway, it wouldn't have counted. Udokai on his 50th Bundesliga appearance today. Also played for Wolfsburg in the top flight, in fact on loan from Wolfsburg, and back in the side today, having missed out playing his parent club last week. Free kick then to be taken inside his 18-yard box by Markus Schubert, the Schalke goalkeeper, who David Wagner announced as soon as Nubel confirmed he'd be going to Bayern, will become their new number 1. Why would you keep developing a keeper for somebody else?
That's completely correct. Absolutely. But if he's your best keeper, you probably play him.
That's the question, isn't it? It's that dilemma. And
I don't think Nubel's shown that he's that much better than Schubert that you guarantee him a place every week.
No, but you do have to take a call on that, and presumably until that contract was signed, he did think that he was his best.
Yes, absolutely. Well, certainly appearances would suggest so, wouldn't they?
And so it's only whether you believe that Schubert will develop himself into being your number 1. If he does, then I can see why you've done that. If you're going to have to sign someone, then my argument is play your best keeper. And well, he's certainly got more of a reputation as Nubel than Schubert, but at the moment we're watching the other youngster in goal for Schalke, still just 21 years of age, and he's in possession at the moment. Nubel, a couple of years his senior. He doesn't look like he's filled out yet. He's almost got the David De Gea's about him from when he first arrived at United. Don't know if you know what I mean in terms of that stature.
He looks skinny, doesn't he? He's tall and skinny. There's no presence about him just yet.
If he develops in the way that De Gea did, then we'll all be eating our words, of course. As Gregoritsch chases over to the far side, Yenvai wins it, but in keeping it in, he's inadvertently given Schalke the ball. Matondo chases after. Its first touch not quite right there, and Udokai is across, shaven-headed, to touch out a play over on the far side. Attacking throw-in for Schalke. Chipka, the captain, has it. Tries to get away from Khedira. Bounces kindly for Augsburg. Framberger with the clearance away. Headed by Nastasic into the sky. Serdar will bring down the dropping ball. Can't quite find a teammate. It's cleared away back into the Schalke half. And Salih Sane picks up. Is there anything in your mind from the response by Schalke to suggest that they're going to get back into this, Chris?
Not really, no. No, they're finding it very difficult to play through Augsburg. Augsburg have got a very good shape. They get back into that team shape and get organised nice and quickly, and there's no space for Schalke to play. They're almost playing in possession now when McKennie doesn't drop between the back three. They're playing almost like a diamond. It's a 4-1-3-2 at times with Caligiuri, Serdar and Schürrle ahead of McKennie.
Here comes a Chipka left-hand side for Schalke. Into Serdar, just shy of the Augsburg 18-yard box. He's worked it right for Kenny. This is better. There's a chance to run onto it for Gregoritsch. Won't work for him. Comes back out via Matondo to Serdar. He goes for goal from distance. Puts it high over the bar, and he's absolutely furious with himself. Is Suat Serdar had just a little bit more time than perhaps he would have expected, but he's rushed that shot over the bar.
Yeah, well, he's capable from that sort of range, isn't he, Suat Serdar? We've seen him finish from that sort of range this season, and he's frustrated that he had enough time there to certainly get his shot on target, and it was really high, wide and handsome.
Eduard Leuven's stunner of a free kick separates the two sides. Yedvai picks up the short goal kick to the right of the 18-yard box. Now it goes forward from Khedira. Nice ball that as well, finding Richter over on the far side. Tries to bring it across to the near side, and Vargas quite have the legs. Back via Kenny to Schubert. He's moved that ball out to the left, gets it back from a Chipka, and now here's Sane to build from the back for Schalke, closed down by Leuven.
There's just no forward pass on for Schalke, is there? Everything's sideways, really.
Well, they're outnumbered in the midfield the way they're playing, aren't they? The 4-4-2 against the 4-2-3-1. And they are working hard, are those, the sort of three for Augsburg, the more advanced three, to help protect against Schalke so far. It's working for them. 26 minutes gone. 1-0 Augsburg in Gelsenkirchen. Be a huge victory for the Fugerstädter, so named after a famous family from the Augsburg region, the Fugger family. And they're doing that family very proud at the moment, from the Swabian part of Bavaria. Very near Bayern Munich, who would be their nearest rivals. There is work left for Schalke, who've had all the possession and really none of the opportunities. Although you'd hardly say Augsburg were created them. I mean, even the free kick that went in was probably half an opportunity at best. It was just a wonderful example of a free kick, and they've actually scored more direct free kicks than anyone else in the Bundesliga this season. That's 4 now.
3 for Max, wasn't it, before today?
Max, absolutely. And that's why we were so convinced it would be him that took it. So the shock, Leuven went for it. I really liked Leuven for Nuremberg last season. Wasn't surprised that Hertha spent €7 million on him in the summer. But now Schalke might have an opportunity, because Matondo, with his electrifying pace, is away. Left-hand side, what's the finish like? Yet again, just like we talked about in the Revier derby against Dortmund in the first half of the season, we're presented a golden opportunity. Matondo can't finish. Good save by Luther, and Augsburg clear.
It's a brilliant chance. Rabbit Matondo, it really is. Wasn't closed down, ran in from the left-hand side into the penalty area. No one came across to make a challenge on him, which surprised me. I thought Udokai had to come across and try and make a challenge. He didn't. Matondo just had the goalkeeper to beat, and he just hit it straight at him. He never looked confident that he was going to score. It was a really poor finish in the end.
Jadon Sancho scores that. I don't want to be too harsh, because Sancho's one of, if not the great young talent in world football behind Mbappe.
Absolutely. I put him up there with Mbappe. When I spoke about earlier Sancho's decision making and his final pass, that's the reason he gets so many assists. It's because he makes the right decision so often. And the only player I've seen at such a young age make those sort of decisions was Mbappe when he was at Monaco in that title-winning season. Very similar. He came on a lot, played wide in that season, and the amount of assists that he got was sensational, and the decision-making was brilliant.
There you go. That's why it's harsh to compare Matondo with him, but the reason the comparison's being made is because he's being touted as an alternative signing for Manchester United, should they be unable to afford Sancho, who, by the way, in the German media at the moment is now being linked with you-know-who, Bayern Munich. I don't know whether they could afford him or not. Perhaps they just moved away from Kai Havertz slightly.
I think they're looking for a winger, aren't they, really? You know, Coutinho's not going to be the man. I'm not sure Coman's ever been the man.
Corner to Augsburg. Here comes Max with the delivery, out swinging. It's a deep one. Does find the head of a red shirt, but it heads clear of the Schalke area, and they've worked it out to Matondo again. Just wouldn't get the bounce of the ball there to allow him to get away from the challenge of Grueso in the midfield. Maybe not mentioned too much, but he's getting through plenty of work. Hard running Grueso. This 26-year-old Ecuadorian, making just a 4th appearance of the season. But his first start since the second game of the campaign. He's been really struggling with injury throughout. Formerly of Stuttgart, went back to South America, and then has come back to the Bundesliga with Augsburg. Udakai's beaten to that one by his usual clubmate Gregoritsch. Dropped to Schalke, and it's with Serdar inside the centre circle. Half an hour played, 1-0 to Augsburg in this clash of two sides in absolutely terrible form. Augsburg with their 4 defeats in a row, and it's no win in 8 for Schalke. In fact, we talk about 4 defeats in a row for Augsburg, but actually it's 1 draw in their last 6 games. That's all they've got, 1 point from the last 18, and only 4 points from the last 30 possible.
Absolutely, just won
games.
1 of the last 10, haven't they? I mean, it's a really bad run they're on, but that goal will have given them huge confidence, and they've looked really compact, really well organised. They've looked much better in possession than Schalke, certainly, and they look the team who might go on and get a second goal.
Only Eintracht Frankfurt have a worse away record in the Bundesliga than Augsburg, for whom, incidentally, this goal is their first on the road in 5 matches. They've lost their last 5 away, failed to score in the last 4. Haven't won on the road since mid-December. I always think it's a bit harsh to say things like that at the moment, Chris, because of course, you know, this is only really a 3-month break rather than a 5-month.
Yeah, it's absolutely. But it's like a new start, isn't it? You know, this is the second game in. New manager, obviously, and Heiko Herrlich as well. So I think we'll have to judge them in a few games' time.
Certainly looking good at the moment. A little bit more resilient, you know, forgetting their brilliant goal. Kenny's got the ball up towards Matondo, might have been offside there. Serdar.
He's just not used to playing as a centre forward. You can see that he's not got an awareness of where the back line is. He's really slow to get back on side there. It's lazy play.
I mean, I can take that point there, but of course the first time he was looking along the line like a winger, so, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Heiko Herrlich, though, looks, well, he puffs out his cheeks. It's not too concerning for him at the moment, but, you know, I suppose the life of a coach in Germany over 90 minutes is always nerve-wracking until you're sort of 6-0 up, which Augsburg don't tend to ever be. Luther booms this one away. Sane is always going to beat Vargas to that 10 times out of 10. Udokai can only slice it out of play near side. Schalke throw on halfway. Kenny will take it. In front of David Wagner, sporting what's become a trademark baseball cap, adorned with 1904, the year that Schalke 04, as their full title would be, reformed. Sane goes back to Schubert. A little bit of pressure there on Nastasic to boom that one clear. It's going to break down to Kenny. Cruyff turns the ball out of the sky.
That's a lovely touch, wasn't it, from Kenny?
Yeah, turns it back to Schubert. Going anywhere with it. Maybe now they can as they drive forward with Schurf. Caligiuri up the line on the right-hand side. Uses him now. Yet again, though, the pass into the 18-yard box. Easy, really, to block. Khedira into touch near side. He has a little elbow touch with Philip Max, something that really you're not supposed to do at the moment, and I don't understand why they have to touch each other at all, goal celebration or otherwise, but of course these are footballers. Kenny gets the ball into Serdar. It's awkward on this right-hand side. Caligiuri, sorry. And drops to Schurf. Does it? Khedira manages to get a header onto it. Then helping out is Leuven, and then cleared by Vargas Only reaches Sane for the second time. Sane does a trick that leaves Florian Niederlechner a little bit embarrassed. This time on his backside. I think it's
Niederlechner sticks at it though. There's a mistake in Sane.
I think you might be right. Here's Gregorich now chasing into the left channel, and we might get something more than perhaps that ball in deserved. He tried a ball into nobody in particular, and
that's
it
the
should have
problem.
been keeper's ball, but Udakai got in, turned it away, and it's a throw to Schalke when really it could have been keeper's ball.
That's the problem for Schalke is you got Gregorich crossing it when you want Gregorich to be the man in the middle of the goal there going to finish it. There's no natural centre forward. They need to maybe bring on, for me, Guido Bergstaller and give themselves a focal point and have players playing off of him.
Goodness me, when you're calling for Guido Borgstaller, a striker who hasn't scored yet this season, you know you're in trouble. Gregorich, by the way, did get a goal and an assist on his debut when he came in on loan in January from Augsburg against Borussia Mönchengladbach, no less. In fact, that was their last victory. Since then, he has played a lone furrow up front quite a lot of the time. Struggled to really make much of an impact and ended up getting dropped until today. And I guess you have to keep trying new things, don't you, when you're in the midst of a run like this. Ball up towards Gregorich, who's falling backwards as Jedvaj won it, and then a little nudge on Grueso in the midfield, and that's again an unnecessary free kick.
Scherp gives away a lot of free kicks, doesn't he? Well, that's probably the third or fourth one he's given away. They're all little niggly fouls, nothing bad, but surely a totting up process is going on in Sasha Stegeman's head. Just tried to ease Grueso off the ball.
He did just stand his ground, didn't he, Scherp?
I think he just put his elbow out, didn't he? Just put his elbow out and just eased him away, just underneath the head up.
Looks like he's wearing an earring in his right ear, just a little stud, which I also thought was not allowed. In fact, in both ears. Here's Scherp. Another ball down the right for Gregorich to chase. I mean, you'd think he'd have an idea of how to beat the defenders in the Augsburg team, wouldn't you? He's trained with them for long enough.
But they'll also know his play really well
yes,
as well.
of course, yes. He's got a good record for Augsburg as Schalke's number 11, 21 goals in 76, and although he's been played as a striker today, he is much more of a sort of 10 or...
He's a 10, isn't he? He's a secondary striker, isn't he? He likes to play off of someone. Not a natural target man, not a natural centre forward by any means.
No. There's definitely a player in there, but it's just not being brought out at the moment as Caligiuri tries to get through, but he was always stretching for that ball. One's loose, cleared away by Augsburg. Niederlechner can't make
It's
it.
all very central, isn't it, for Schalke when they attack? See how many players are in the middle of the pitch. They've got no natural width. They can't get the two fullbacks forward, which is what they're looking for. They're almost playing a diamond in midfield, and so it's very narrow. And they need Jojo Kenny and Bastian Oczipka to get forward.
Maybe Scherp can do something here. He had to wait for a Chipka. Pass is poor. Chipka's won it though. He's done really well there, and Serdar will chase down the left. What's the cross line? Comes back for a Chipka. Delicate one towards Gregorich. Loops into the sky. Luta comes and claims.
Udakai did brilliantly there. He really did. He looked second favourite to Gregorich on that one. Gregorich looked as though he had the leap on him, but he got up and he got a crucial blocking which allowed Luta to come and collect.
1-0 to Augsburg. That's the voice of Chris Perry alongside me, Toby Gillis. Full 90 minutes. There are two more games for us to bring you later on as well. RB Leipzig are up next. They're away to Mainz, a team they hit for 8 earlier in the season at home. And Cologne hosting Fortuna Düsseldorf. The final game of the day. Kevin Hatchard will be here to bring you that. And then, of course, the highlights show where they analyse all of the action from the weekend. And Kev, one of the absolute best Bundesliga pundits around, will host that show this evening. McKennie to Kenny. Pushed away by Khedira into touch on the near side. Throw into Schalke. Here's Sane. Salih Sane, formerly of Hanover, went down with Hanover a couple of years ago before joining Schalke, but always liked what I saw from him then. He's physical, he's got a goal in him. But I think, as Chris has said, possibly got an error in him today as well, and maybe that's an example of it as Niederlechner chases the ball over the top after Sane's pass went awry. And McKennie has to come back, make the challenge, and it's a corner to Augsburg. And this is where they can be such a threat with Max's delivery, even if perhaps they haven't scored as many as you'd expect. Just one goal from corners this season for Augsburg. But at the moment, it feels like set pieces might be their best route to go.
Yeah, well, they haven't created anything really in open play, have they? So this is a good opportunity for them to actually get some bodies in the box and deliver a ball in there. Schalke have brought everyone back to defend it. So they've got absolutely no chance of scoring on the counter-attack, you feel.
Famous last words. Here comes Max, though, with this corner. Schalke have to deal with this first. After giving him the big build-up, doesn't beat the first man. Augsburg are all the way back to the goalkeeper. I think you made the point about the wide men, Chris. I mean, it's not just an issue of the sort of getting them out there and getting them well. I mean, Caligiuri's had a great career.
He's playing narrow today. He's playing narrow. If you look at his position, he's playing very narrow. Schürrle, who can play wide.
I question the pace of this Schalke side. There's very little in there, and it might be why Matondo's getting a game, really, because he's the only one. Who else is really, truly quick? The fullbacks aren't. Caligiuri's not. Serdar's, maybe over the first 3 or 4 yards, but he's never going to outpace anyone for extended periods. And certainly wide. Surely you need some pace up against Max and Framberger.
You look at this Schalke team, and there's probably not one outstanding player on the pitch. Whereas you could even say in the Augsburg team, they got Philipp Max, who's one of the best left backs in the Bundesliga. And he's got one of the best left feet in the Bundesliga. Schalke have got nothing really. I mean, you could argue that Serdar is a talent.
Well, he got into the Germany squad for the first time this season.
Yeah.
I mean, the question for me is how many, in an ideal world, if you could sell and buy who you wanted, how many of this lot stay at Schalke?
Most of them.
Stay or go?
Oh, sorry. Well, who's going to? No one's going to come in from a bigger club and buy anyone.
No.
Serdar potentially.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean,
Nasta Stitch is all right at centre half. Maybe
he's
Sane.
steady, isn't he? Steady. They're both steady. They're both decent Bundesliga players, but they're not the sort of player that. We say that they could go fifth today if they turn this around, but they're not the sort of player that's going to take you into the Europa League and the Champions League positions.
Here's Niederlechner turning into the box. McKennie is there to help out. He's done his defensive due diligence today, as McKennie, to be fair to him.
I think that's what he is. I think he's a defensive midfielder who can get about the pitch and put people under pressure, and he needs and just play simple. And he's not a playmaker, which is what they're asking him to be at times.
In terms of a substitutes bench, there are options for them. I'll tell you who I would keep, and he's only on the bench today returning to fitness, is Ozan Kabak. I really
I
like
him.
him.
Yeah, I like him.
Goal scoring centre half.
Young, very cavalier, likes to bring the ball out from the back. Strong, powerful. I've been impressed with him. When I first saw him at Stuttgart, I thought he was a very good player.
Very unfortunate to be relegated with them last season via the relegation playoff. Here come Schalke with Matondo. That's better feet by Rami Matondo, moving from left into the centre of the field, but decision making again, doesn't release it quick enough.
Not a foul.
Augsburg have it back down the right hand side. Niederlechner up against Nastasic, makes his way into the area. Niederlechner onto his left foot, takes a deflection, loops into the sky, took all the pace away from the shot there. Did that block on the effort, and it bounces kindly into the sky for shoot.
Yeah, Rami Matondo very slow to get up after that challenge, but I thought it was a fair challenge. In the middle of the pitch, Matondo did look more comfortable, didn't it? Didn't he? Coming in from the left-hand side, travelling with the ball. I think that's where his strength is. It's a brilliantly timed tackle by Marco Richter, actually. It's a sensational tackle.
Old-fashioned.
Oh, really? You don't see those all the time now, do you?
No, certainly not. That would have been your style.
Yeah, I enjoy those moments. You don't see them enough now.
And from a winger as well. Matondo, he's done well there again. The heavy touch from Gregorich was running out of play. Matondo making up the yards to keep the ball in, and although it's back with the goalkeeper, Schalke have possession rather than giving away a throw. Another little neat bit of footwork by Sane, and again to move away from the challenges of Löwen and then Richter. and Schalke can build with the high ball out to the left, overhit for the Austrian Gregoritsch.
That's what I mean by Weston McKennie there. That's a ball that he should be able to hit if you're playing in that quarterback role in the middle of the pitch where you get the ball and you're distributing it all over the pitch. And he can't make that pass. And they're asking him to do it. And it's unfair on him because he's not that sort of player.
I think part of the issue, though, is that he maybe thinks he's that sort of player.
Potentially, yeah.
And, sometimes you need someone to grab you by the scruff of the neck and say, look, this is what you are, and until you accept it, you're not playing, maybe even. He's been picked up.
I think it's the USA effect again, where these young players are American, and because they're American, they're huge in their own country.
Nice from Serdar coming forward. It was always going to be tough to get his shot through a crowd of bodies there, but he made up a lot of ground. Real driving run from the German international, and his shot deflected away for a throw near side.
They're always a little bit overhyped, the young American players.
Yeah, I mean, arguably even Pulisic, dare I say, as
I like Pulisic. I think he's a proper player. I'm thinking of Josh Sargent, who's been massively overrated, I think.
Absolutely. As the half-time whistle goes, no stoppage time. Bang on the... It's worth pointing out they've conceded 37 goals this season in the second matches. So there's still plenty of hope for Schalke, but they find themselves a goal down at half-time. Schalke 0, Augsburg 1. This is Bundesliga Live.
Thank you to Toby and thank you to Chris. This is TalkSport 2, second half commentary to come, and our Bundesliga commentary is being broadcast in association with Schalke with work to do.
We get ourselves underway on this second Sunday of the return of the Bundesliga. Here they come with Richter. Now Löwen. It was quite great for Augsburg, although there might have been a foul challenge in there. There was. And it's a free kick in what would be the very maximum range, I would have thought, of shooting possibilities. Surely you don't leave this to anyone bar the free kick specialist that is Philip Max. Nearly 6 minutes gone, and of course, as I say that, goodness me, that's a stunning goal, and it wasn't Max that went for it, it was Edouard Löwen who's given the away side the lead.
Boy, did he aim it well. That was an absolutely perfect free kick over the wall into the top corner.
Now Schalke might have an opportunity because Matondo, with his electrifying pace, is away. Left-hand side, what's the finish like? Matondo can't finish. Good save by Luther, and Augsburg clear.
It was a really poor finish in the end.
Right, let's hand back to our commentary team now of Toby Gillis and Chris Perry for second half coverage of Schalke versus Augsburg. 1-0, of course, Augsburg lead. This Bundesliga commentary is being broadcast in association with Amazon Music, the official global audio partner of the Bundesliga.
First to come out, I think David Wagner, whether he'll have a little change about with the system and just go to a natural 4-3-3 potentially with Matondo wide on the left and Caligiuri wide on the right. It almost looked like they were trying a diamond, but they haven't really got the personnel to do it, and it was too many square pegs in round holes, and it just wasn't working.
Rob Daly and Chris Williams are ready for Mainz against Leipzig in just exactly an hour's time, but the second half is ready at the Veltins Arena. Schalke 0, Augsburg 1. It will be Schalke that get us underway at the start of this second period, shooting now from right to left as we watch. And they simply have to find something to avoid what would be one of the more embarrassing results of recent weeks for them. And it's fair to say that they've had a few. 3-0 at Cologne, 5-0 at home to Leipzig, drawing with Paderborn bottom side in the Bundesliga, and of course their 4-0 defeat last week in the Revier derby to Borussia Dortmund. We are currently waiting for the referee, Sascha Stegemann.
He's enjoying his half-time, isn't he?
He is, absolutely, yeah. He's social distancing to an extreme in that he's not even on the pitch at the moment. Conversations going on between Suat Serdar and Marco Richter and Edouard Löwen.
There were some long conversations actually. Nastasic and Sane, particularly when they came out, had their hands over their mouths as though they were discussing maybe what David Wagner had said at half time, and
don't let in any more goals.
Well, you'd like to think he'd said that. They need to do something. They need a massive improvement, don't they? I mean, they have been very lacklustre. They've lacked. They're not competitive. Very similar to last week. You mentioned it before, didn't you, about the Revier derby at Dortmund? The fact that they almost capitulated. Really didn't really have too much about them in a derby game. Well, this is like this today. They need to get up for this.
Yeah, certainly questioning the mentality at the moment, given the way that they're doing, heads down. But finally, Sascha Stegemann returns, gets a warm round of applause from the coaches as the referee readies himself for the second 45. He's counting up that we've got 22 players on the pitch. It does appear there are no changes. Schalke to get us underway. Let's run you through the two teams quickly. For Schalke, it's Schubert in goal. The defence, Kenny, Sane, Nastasic, Achepka, the captain, and Caligiuri, Serdar, McKennie and Schöpf in midfield, and Gregoritsch and Matondo, the pair nominally up front, although both working the channels quite a lot. For Augsburg, Luther's the goalkeeper. The back four, Framberger, Jedvai, Udakai and Max. Grueso and Kadira a midfield pairing with Richter, Löwen and Fargas supporting Niederlechner up front. Still, we wait for permission to get underway for the second half, which is now at least 2.5 minutes late. Stegemann holding his watch without blowing his whistle. Waiting to hear, I don't know if there's a problem in Cologne with the VAR. Today that's Tobias Stieler. Jumping, jogging on the spot. This is really the most deathly silence ground I've ever heard.
It's very, very eerie, isn't
You
it?
can actually hear the ghosts. This is bizarre. Referee finally puts his whistle to his lips and blows, and Gregorich gets us underway. 3 minutes of stoppage time before the half has even begun. And it's back with McKennie, who really does appear to be in a back three now. The way that they've set up for this second period from the very beginning. Schubert clears away. Header on by Framberger. Drops to those in red. All red today. Augsburg, their change kit. Usually green and white. And Schalke in their blue jerseys, white shorts, blue socks defending the goal. Away to our right. Niederlechner manages to turn the ball on. Quite drop for Leuven. But it will bounce out to the far side, and Max brought it under control initially and then got in the way as his touch went loose. Kenny tried to burst past him, and it's a free kick to Schalke for the challenge by a combination of Vargas and Max.
Yeah, and McKennie in possession is dropping in between the two centre-backs. That's decision Sane once again, as he did in the first half, but he's just limited on the ball. He can't hit those 50, 60-yard balls into the front. I mean, that's the City, a beautiful ball in there to Gregorich.
Just as you said that, he did, and Gregorich won the header, but it wouldn't quite find Matondo. Chipka losing briefly the battle with Richter. The ball drops out at play near side, throw in for Schalke.
That's my question is, you put Weston McKennie in there. I actually think Sane and Nastasic are just as good as him on the ball, can hit that pass just as well. Get him further up the pitch where he's more effective. Maybe just sitting in front of them to break up any sort of counter-attack.
He's in possession at the moment in that exact position, but his pass yet again is poor. Yep. Nastasic having to prevent the corner, right down by the byline, and it's a throw-in on top of the corner flag, really, for Augsburg, and that again from McKennie's poor passing, poor one-touch passing.
It's a lack of concentration, that was. That's all it was. I mean, it was a simple pass back to Nastasic, and he just mishit it.
Heiko Herrlich, by the way, the Augsburg coach, is a Dortmund legend as a player. So Schalke don't like him very much anyway. He won 2 Bundesligas and a Champions League with Dortmund. So he wouldn't have been welcomed had this been a busy ground today with all the fans. But he actually doesn't have a great record against Schalke as a player. Beat them just 4 times in 16 attempts. A number of clubs, not only for Dortmund, but for Gladbach as well. Scored 4 times in those 16 games, but I'll tell you what, he'd take great pleasure in beating them as a coach for the first time in charge of Augsburg today.
Absolutely. Well, his team has certainly been the better team in the first half. Just in the opening sequences of this second half, but they're under no pressure again, really.
Max very nearly gave the ball away there to Gregorich, who's fighting with Udokai now. He's right down in front of his own byline. Gregorich is furious that that's gone.
It was a throw-in. I think he's right. Udokai tried to clear it up the line. Gregorich gets the block, and I think it goes out for a throw-in, not a goal kick as the assistant has given.
Should be booked for dissent there, though, shouldn't he? That was a real show of dissent to the assistant.
Certainly frustrating. At least there's some passion there.
Well,
That's
you're
what
right.
you want to see.
And there should be. He's playing against his parent club, who frankly, he fell out with. The way that he left, he was not happy with the way that he was being utilised, or not so much, frankly. All away by Luther from the goal kick that probably shouldn't have been given. And maybe, I was just about to say justice done that Schalke emerged with the ball, but it's ended up as a throw-in to Augsburg, left-hand side. Midpoint of their own half. Max to take. And then it's hooked round the corner by Leuven. Won't drop into the path of anybody in red, though. Niederlechner's had a fairly quiet game. He's worked hard chasing balls. He's a goal for quite some time is Florian Niederlechner. None in his last 6. Made that 6.5 now. But that front 4, certainly if I was an Augsburg fan, would offer me hope for the future. They can keep them all together. Done well, Niederlechner, since joining from Freiburg in the summer, and he's in possession here down the left-hand side, and he's opening up for a shot here. Really, nobody went towards him. It surely was up to Nastasic to get towards him. And the shot very similar to Matondo, similar position in the first half, but Matondo forced a pretty comfortable save from the keeper. And for Lucha in the first half, Reed Schubert in the second, and it remains 1-0 to Augsburg when it perhaps should be 2.
Niederlechner probably should have done better there. I think Leuven was in a good position for the cutback, and that's why Nastasic didn't come across and go towards Niederlechner. He felt that the angle was against him, and he was right.
Comfortable save for Schubert. Here's McKennie giving it back to the keeper once more.
His first thought is always backwards.
Yeah.
You know, and there was an obvious forward pass on there. It was only a 5-yard pass, simple pass into Schürpf, and they could have been out and on the attack, but his first thought is backwards. He's very defensive-minded, Weston McKennie, so play him as a defensive midfielder.
He talked in a quite candid interview over the course of the break about his next goal being England. Well, I'm not sure it's the Premier League if it's England, that's for
He's
sure.
certainly not at the level to play in the Premier League at the moment.
Here's Matondo.
Still young, still got some developing to do.
Yeah, 21 years of age is Weston McKennie. Talked about a fascinating, really wide-ranging interview actually about how his first ever football trial was in cleats. He was potentially an American football star as Suat Serdar goes down worryingly. So taken a little knock to his shin perhaps. And he saw him hobble.
Yeah, it can be painful if you do end up clashing shin to shin with someone. It's a knee actually in the back of the knee from Brownie Kadira, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was clearly a painful one.
Niederlechner really would have been something special to have beaten Schubert from there. The angle was very much against him. Possibly been better cutting it back to Leuven, but it's an opportunity for Caligiuri to deliver a free kick. Very central, 45 yards out from goal. Not going to shoot, that's for sure.
I wouldn't have thought so. He waits. 3-man wall of sorts in front of him. Here comes the bending ball towards Nastasic. 1 goal Nastasic has ever scored in the Bundesliga. He didn't even win the header there. Sane shepherds it into touch on the near side though. Throw into Schalke. He awaits a chip. Haven't even got like a long throw special. There's nothing. There's no player with an incredible, outstanding talent on the pitch at the moment. You would say. I mean, you talked about Max for Augsburg. Every club surely has to have at least one, and Schalke. I mean, you look through the squad and, all right, I mean, Ari is capable, but doesn't show it that often, I think. Serdar's coming into his own without really being a superstar.
Worryingly, he's off the pitch as well.
There's a Chipka's ball into the box, header away by Udakai. Been impressive today as Udakai. And Vargas has managed to get ahead of Caligiuri here and then he really waited for the tackle to come in there, didn't he? And Caligiuri brought him down. Duly obliged and perhaps a bit lucky to avoid a yellow card, but it is a free kick to Augsburg.
Yeah, the reason he doesn't get a yellow card here is because Vargas was going nowhere. He was going off the pitch, wasn't he? He wasn't going towards goal. Had he been running straight towards goal and Caligiuri had brought him down, I think it would have been a certain yellow card, but Suat Serdar's still struggling from that Brownie Kadira challenge.
Yeah, he certainly is. And we hope for his sake, for neutral's sake as well, because he is one of the better players on the field.
A young midfielder, haven't they? Central midfielder, Nassim Boudjelab, who could come on potentially. Would be a like-for-like replacement unless they want to go a little bit more direct and go with either Burgstaller or Katucu. It is Katucu by the looks of it.
Well, the Schalke fans have been desperate to hashtag free Katucu, who is Gelsenkirchen born, albeit now a Turkish, full Turkish international, yet to start a game in the Bundesliga under David Wagner. Fans do not understand why. He feels like a goal threat when he comes on. He's full of running. He's not a physical presence, and that may be the issue that he's got when they play him or when they do play with one up front. But surely today with Gregoric, you can play him off him. Gregoric could be sat in his favoured position in the 10, and then get those wingers in and around. But Serdar has hobbled back onto the pitch now. He's game over. No chance.
He's
gone down again.
Katucu's going to come on for him. It's going to be a little bit of a reshuffle. You'd either think with either the shape certainly Katuchu is an out-and-out centre forward.
He looks devastated. Does Serdar to have to come off, and he's launched. I'm quite sure what that was that he just threw. Maybe an armband or a wristband or something. But Ahmed Katucu, he looks like he's been one of those that's been moving or staying away from the barbers as well as Katucu. His beard's grown, his hair's grown, and he'll come on and he will certainly offer some thrust. For me, that is the key. And I just wonder whether that is a reshuffle now or whether Gregoritsch simply drops into the midfield.
We'll just have to wait and see on that one. But he's certainly, whenever I've seen him, Katuchu, he always gives maximum effort, he puts himself about, and he's a good finisher. It looks as though Katuchu's actually playing in behind Matondo and Gregoritsch from the look of the shape. So it's
extraordinary. He's a striker.
Absolutely, you'd swap the two around.
The only striker.
Natural position, isn't
He's
it?
the only striker on the pitch, and he's not being played as a striker, and he's got a midfielder and a winger playing up front. Well, I don't understand it.
Well, David Barker, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. He's going to get asked that question if Katuchu comes on and makes no impact on this game and Schalke go on to lose. He's going to be asked the question, why didn't you play him up front?
Schalke have the throw in at left back. The nearest player to it is Katuchu. I mean, he's made his way forward now, and Gregoritsch with the flick onto Matondo. Now Katuchu is making the run. Will Matondo try and find him? It's just turned inside Yedvai and taken it out of play.
He's struggling, isn't he, Matondo? He looks as though he's struggling for confidence.
I've been following the Bundesliga for 4 years really closely, and Schalke, you know, we all know the history, we all know the size of the club, we all know the fan base, but I've rarely been as frustrated by a club as I am by Schalke.
There's so much potential to be
So
a huge club, isn't there? And everyone speaks about it. Every year you hear it, don't you? Schalke are going to be challenging, Schalke are going to be doing this, and they constantly let you down.
I won't mention the Clemens tourneys either at the start of the season. That's not worth talking about. The top man at the club, really. But, you know, you talk about being disappointing. That for me was one of the biggest examples. He's still very much at the helm. And, if you don't know about it, look it up. Luther away for Augsburg. Underneath it, Salif Sane. Just run away from him. No, sticks out a telescopic leg. That was well done by the Senegalese. And he drops it back to Nastasic.
Never looks in control, does he, Salif Sane? But he always gets himself out of the situation.
I quite like him. He's a little bit kamikaze. Quite fun. Here's Nastasic. Much more with a steady Eddie. Chipka. Nowhere close to his Eintracht Frankfurt days. He was a real star at Chipka. Hasn't missed a minute of football.
Good tackle that from Philip Banks.
They don't look under any pressure whatsoever, leading by a goal to nil. Well, we're 13 minutes into the second half, and we're going to see another substitution. And the man coming off is Ruben Vargas, who had taken a bit of a knock, and on in his place is Noah Sarendran-Bazet, another winger who's beginning to make a name for himself in the Bundesliga. Has had troubles with injuries, formerly of Hanover, went down with them last season, but the Nigerian, German-born winger on for Augsburg, and he's moved over as a direct replacement for Vargas, and here he is, rangy figure, moving it infield to Löwe.
Just got to play on the left wing, hasn't he? He's right-footed, but we have to be able to cut back inside onto his right foot, maybe cut in and get a few shots off.
Heavy touch by Schuh, but he's fortunate that clearance evaded the first man, but it doesn't evade Framberger. Heavy touch. Here come Augsburg anyway, though. Löwen, can he find Framberger? No. And now Schalke will try and break. Brought down by Grueso, and as you mentioned, a yellow card for the Ecuadorian.
Yeah, his only thing in Grueso's mind there was to stop the counter-attack. He's done that. He's allowed his team to get back in shape. It's a clever foul, and sort of thing you'd expect from a South American, really.
Yeah, they're always prepared prepared to get their foot in. He is that typical defensive midfielder from South America, isn't he? In so many ways. Hard runner, offered very, very little when he's been on the ball, but just keeps it going. And then when you need him to take a yellow card for the team, there he is. Jedvaj comes across to head that one out of play above Matondo. Chipka to take it, midpoint of the Augsburg half. Comes back to Nastasic. You can hear frustration, can't you, on the Schalke bench? And it's one of the beauties of the ghost games, as McKennie outpaces Khedira to do his defensive duty. Back he comes to Schubert. I wonder how often I've used the word McKennie and then back in this commentary. Jedvaj heads that one away from the long clearance by Schubert. Poor from Achipka, really poor. Niederlechner's in the box. If Richter wants to find him, he's going it alone straight at Schubert.
Richter has missed an opportunity there to see the pass early. After the initial mistake, the really poor pass, he picks the ball up and Florian Niederlechner is completely unmarked. No one within 20 yards of him, just outside the penalty area, middle of the goal, and he just has to pass it to him. And he's clean through on goal, and he decides to take it himself, cuts inside on his left foot. It's a weak shot and an easy save for Schubert. What a poor decision.
Chipka tries to find the ball into Matondo. Clearance only finds Gregoric. Matondo needs to stay onside. He's done that on the left. Matondo, this might be an opportunity for Scherp. Good block that by Jedvaj.
Big block, wasn't it?
He stuck his leg out behind him, and it really, really needed the Croatian defender there. Not totally sure how much pace it had to beat the keeper. As Chipka lays off of Framberger's hand, and this is a promising free kick situation for Schalke, but that was a decent chance there for the Royal Blues.
It's certainly the best chance that they've created, really, apart from Matondo's in the first half, certainly in the second half. It's a good shot from Schott. It's a really big block from Jedvaj. He stuck out his leg, was strong.
Well past the hour mark now, 62 minutes. Schalke 0, Augsburg 1. Royal Blues with a dangerous free kick, wide on the left-hand side. About level with the edge of the 18-yard box. Caligiuri is delivering. It was almost like a miss hit. Easy away. Back towards the area from Achipka. Round the corner by Matondo. Blocked away by Matt. You heard an there on the Schalke bench. The frustration. I'm not surprised because they're showing precious little. Sane will try and get the cross in from the long ball forward. Now Katucu will chase out to the right to get it. No forward option. Only Kenny just inside the Augsburg half, almost on halfway. Kenny's long ball forward. Gregoric takes it on his chest. That's nice by Gregoric. Now they come forward again. Half a shooting opportunity for Caligiuri. He's scuffed it well wide on his wrong foot, his left foot. But better from Schalke, without feeling really like it's time for them to get their equaliser.
Yeah, actually it's the first time in the game where I think Augsburg have just sat a little bit too deep. They didn't get up the pitch enough, and they just allowed Schalke a little bit of space to drop the ball in, John Joe Kenny, into Gregoric's chest. It was the first time in the game where he's almost been able to be a platform for Schalke, and he was able to lay it off. And Caligiuri, I mean, the shot was a poor one, he dragged it well wide, but if Augsburg don't push up the pitch and sit deep, it would allow Gregoric to be that platform and will just invite pressure.
Yeah, it's not really going that well for Schalke right now, but maybe the nerves will set in for Augsburg. But haven't won in their last 5 away games. They're away on this left-hand side by Richter. He's now chasing down the right. Picked it up ahead of Achipka. Tries the reverse ball to Framberger. Won't come for him. Schalke away with McKennie. Poorly given away, but fortunately for them, there was a blue shirt, although it's run away once again to Leuven. Now this is Richter opening up, turns inside McKennie, shoots right-footed. Floats really into the gloves of Marcus Schubert.
It was good play from Richter, wasn't it? Went past McKennie far too easily. Took the shot on with his right foot, but he almost caught it on the outside of his foot, and it just didn't get the power that was required to beat Schubert.
Niederlechner tussles with Kenny, and then Sane, and in comes the challenge by Surendran Bazet, but Sane emerges with it. He actually has done well today. we've feared at times, haven't we, when he's been in possession?
Again, he never
But he's
looked like he was favourite to come out of there with the ball, but he did.
No, absolutely, and better to be lucky than good, as they say. And here is Nastasic. It's a bit harsh. He's not good. It's Senegalese.
He's got his hands on his hips
Good,
now.
so
He's
looks a bit
breathing a little
tired.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. McKennie comes backwards to him once more. Here is Nastasic. I mean, McKennie has literally played in every position, including up front, attacking midfield.
Maybe he's a goalkeeper.
Yeah, this is the one position he hasn't played yet that we suddenly will discover.
I think that's harsh. Listen, he's a talented young player. I don't think he quite knows, or maybe no one knows exactly what he is yet, what he's going to be. For me, he looks like a defensive midfielder who can link it and play simple, can break play up, he can get about the pitch. He's often runs the highest distance, doesn't he, for Schalke? But he's certainly not a playmaker as yet. He might develop into one.
Yeah, there's much work to be done with him. Away it goes from the goalkeeper of Augsburg, Andreas Luther, into touch far side. 1-0 to Augsburg. This fight between two sides who have not won in 16 games between them. In fact, more, 8. 8 for Schalke, 10 for Augsburg.
Wouldn't surprise you if it was a draw, would it?
Well, I mean, it would, because I can't see Schalke scoring,
Well,
to be honest with
they
you.
haven't looked like scoring, have they? They haven't created a really good opportunity, and certainly in the second half, just the one in the first half from Matondo.
Throw by Max. McKennie does win one. That ball runs forward. Matondo will chase it.
Framberger needed to pass that back first time to his goalkeeper. Now he's under pressure. He's done brilliantly in the end.
Into touch though. It is a throw into Schalke down this near side. Their left. The substitutes bench for Schalke includes a goal-scoring centre-half, Ozan Kabak. Never know. Benito Raman can be a threat. They've already brought on Katuchu. Guido Burgstaller would be another forward option, although you have to go back to the final day of last season for him to find a goal. He's actually got a good record against Augsburg as Burgstaller. Been involved in 4 against Augsburg. That's more than any other club. 3 goals and an assist.
Yeah.
So like that sort of thing. Now McKennie has given the ball away poorly to Niederlechner, brought down by the American.
This is Philip Max territory, this one. This is a little bit further to the right, nearer the goal than the free kick that Leuven scored. I can expect Max to be on this one, that's for sure. But it's McKennie who gave the ball away. Dwelton got caught, and then he gives away a free kick. And this is literally about 25 yards out, just to the right-hand side of the D, the penalty area. This is perfect for Philip Max.
Just past the midpoint of the second half. Schalke 0, Augsburg 1. A second, and you'd be sure that the 3 points are wrapped up for Augsburg. Leuven is also over this again, but as Chris says, with it being further off to the right, the left foot of one of the best free kick takers in the Bundesliga, Philip Max would be the favourite. Max runs up, Max strikes! Bends it to the right of the goalkeeper, but that was the side that Schubert had covered, and he's made a decent save. Katuchu, though, clearance is poor. He tried to flick in a dangerous position, and he's fortunate that Leuven's pass only finds John Joe Kenny of Schalke, and they move it away down the right-hand side. Here's Caligiuri on the counter-attack for Schalke. We'll hear Chris Perry's thoughts on the free kick in a moment. Caligiuri's pass, awful. 4-yard pass to John Joe Kenny, didn't have the weight, Khedira clears, and it hits Caligiuri into touch far side. Schalke 0, Augsburg 1. And Chris Perry can talk us through that free kick. It was
a decent free kick. It hit the target, didn't it? But it was always goalkeeper's side. That was the side where Marcus Schubert wanted Philip Max to hit it, and that was the side he went. I think Max almost gambled that he was going to take the step to his left-hand side, like he did for the Leuven goal, but he didn't.
The goal scorer has gone off, Leuven, and Sergio Cordova, a striker, another South American, a Venezuelan, has gone off. And I've also just seen Jan Moravec come on. And I have to confess, I didn't quite spot
it's just Moravec, isn't it?
Gone off.
Just Moravec for Leuven, I think, was the substitution.
Right. is with Augsburg once again. Here comes Niederlechner. Now Framberger, Sarenren Bazet, and now out to the right-hand side goes Moravec. Max back to Moravec. This is Hueso, but he can't find a teammate. And I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, it was a straight swap. The number came up, and Schalke will break. They've got it down to Caligiuri on the right-hand side. There's the cross. It hit Udokai. It goes behind for a corner to Schalke.
Defended well, Augsburg. Whenever the balls come into the box, they've pretty much got first contact on every cross. Got to defend this well, though. They won't want to concede from a set play.
Moravec probably a little bit more defensive-minded than Leuven. Czech central midfielder will be helping his team defend this set piece. It's going to be taking an outswinger from Caligiuri. In towards Gregoric! Big chance and he's headed it wide.
I think he might get a corner out of this. I think Udokai just about does enough to put him off. He does. It's brilliant from Udokai because Gregoric looks as though he's going to score.
Looked on target to me.
Yeah. It just hits Udokai, doesn't it? Almost on the shoulder. He just does enough to stop this being a goal.
He's been absolutely brilliant, the 22-year-old
It's
defender.
not given us a corner, but it was given us a free kick, which is a little bit harsh on Gregoric. I don't think it was a foul.
That would have been a goal if it had gone in, surely.
Well, certainly, because VAR would have looked at it. I don't think it was a foul.
No. And challenge comes in there by Grueso on Caligiuri. He wins it cleanly, out of play, far side, throw to Schalke, which they've worked back to the goalkeeper, Schubert. He's actually done okay today. We talked about perhaps was he a shade too far to his left for the free kick that went in, but it's been solid when called upon otherwise. It's always difficult to judge whether a keeper's at fault for a free kick like that because it was a
Quality. The free kick was superb, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I think he'll be relatively pleased with his performance, Schubert. That's a lovely ball into the right-hand channel for Niederlechner. Tries to turn inside. Nastasic got his touch a bit wrong there, did Niederlechner? And Nastasic's clearance is headed down and back as far as Schurf.
He's a great outlet, though, Niederlechner, isn't he? He'll run the channels for you. He's very willing. Just sometimes when he gets the ball into him, he almost tried to turn before he had the ball under control there. He just needs to secure the ball first.
That's the voice of Chris Perry alongside Toby Gillis for this Schalke against Augsburg, which I wouldn't say it's been cagey. I mean, they've gone for it. They're just been lacking quality in the final third for both sides, really.
You can see both sides are obviously going to be lacking a bit of confidence with the runs they're on. You know, both are losing runs, 8 and 6 respectively. And you can see that out there, that both sides just haven't got the confidence really to express themselves too much.
Weston McKennie's afternoon is over. Levin Merchan, a young teenage midfielder, will come on. Got a little bit more forward thrust as the youngster. It's only his third Bundesliga appearance. But interestingly, he's gone and dropped back into the back three again, just like McKennie has been doing.
You'd imagine he's kind of an attacking midfielder, isn't he? But so you'd imagine he's going to be good in possession.
Yeah, he's having to chase defensively at the moment because Niederlechner's in possession, and now down the right-hand side, here's Marco Richter.
That's awful.
Goes across the face of the goal, and nobody was getting anywhere near it. He needed to either wait for Sarenren Bazet or go for it himself.
I think it was a shot.
Back.
I think it was a shot. I think it was that bad. It was a shot, and it's gone out for a throw-in.
Schalke readying more changes. I think that is Bujalov that I can see preparing himself.
He's the one who would more naturally sit where McKennie was playing, really, and control things, you'd feel. Good in possession. Reminds me a little bit, actually, of Nabil Bentaleb when he was here.
Yeah. I think the less said about him to a lot of Schalke fans,
Yeah, absolutely.
the better.
Yeah.
Ball forward by Augsburg, won't reach Richter. Of course, Kabak's available to them as well, and he would be a threat if they were to get more set pieces.
Absolutely. He's very powerful aerial, isn't he?
8 minutes. Amazingly, Ravi Matondo's still on the pitch. Haven't mentioned his name for the last 10 minutes or so.
It looks to me like David Wagner's just trying to get as many attacking players on the pitch as he can. He's not worried where they play.
Remember when Middlesbrough reached the Europa League final? A bit like that, isn't it? Just
absolutely, yeah.
Steve McLaren chucked on striker after striker until they scored.
A bit like Tottenham with the front six that they had in the mid-90s. Dumitrescu and all those sort of players.
Your era, that was.
Just before my era, really, just about.
All away, looking for Niederlechner for Augsburg. Sane wins it, but no, and Surendran Bazay nicks it off his partner, and Surendran Bazay takes out the back of the net, and Augsburg do double their lead. Noah Surendran Bazay with his first Bundesliga goal. Schalke 0, Augsburg 2. Another defensive calamity, and Schalke are in dire straits in Gelsenkirchen.
It's just a straight ball over the top. Joe Kenny dives in, doesn't need to dive in, should have stayed on his feet. Surendran Bazay takes it round Joe Kenny and travels towards the penalty area. Sane's left 2v1. Does well, he delays and he delays. Surendran Bazay comes in on his right foot, and what a composed finish that is from a player that's just come on the pitch, his first Bundesliga goal. And what a way to get your first goal. He just opens his body out, bends it towards the top right corner, and it hits the side net, and it's such a good finish. He gave Schubert absolutely no chance.
What a way to open your account for Augsburg. A vital, vital goal that gives them a little bit more hope of avoiding any part in the relegation dogfight. 2-0 they lead. I wonder now really whether the clean sheet is the target, because they will be hoping for a first in 11 Bundesliga games. Bujalab, by the way, is on for Schalke, as is Benito Raman. Now, Raman has been involved in one relegation fight since arriving in the Bundesliga. This is his 50th Bundesliga appearance, Benito Raman, today.
Yeah, but Matondo's gone off. He's one of the ones that's gone off. Raman's come on for him, and he's playing in that wide left role, or just up front with Gregoritsch. Be interesting to see who the other one is.
Just waiting for confirmation of that. Gregoritsch is certainly still on. And
is it Caligiuri, the other one gone off?
Will be. We'll get confirmation of that as soon as we can. Ball is back with Schubert at the moment, being closed down by Surendran Bazay. The clearance by Nastasic. Raman will chase.
Can't see that with Caligiuri.
I think you're absolutely right, yeah. It is Caligiuri who has gone off for Nassim Bujalab. 20-year-old. Another with African heritage, Moroccan under-23 international, but born in Germany. He will need to do something special, as will Raman, to try and get Schalke back into this game. Right now, they look like the team threatened with relegation rather than Augsburg, and what a result this is on debut in the dugout, at least. Officially, last week was Heiko Herrlich's first game in charge of Augsburg, but he wasn't there, of course, as Katucu air shoots, and then Chipka picks up the ball as it drops behind him, shoots, and it's cleared away by Augsburg, who simply need to see out the last 12 minutes to secure a massive 3 points in the Bundesliga.
They're all over the place now, Schalke. I don't think anyone knows what shape they're playing. They're just out there playing football. There's players that are playing out of position all over the pitch.
One of them is not John Joe Kenny, who's on the right-hand side. Manages to find Bujalab. Leaves it for Kenny again, just not on his favoured right foot. Little give and go. Can't keep it in. He's furious, isn't he?
It was a decent idea, wasn't it?
He was at fault for the goal, though, I think, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. He just needed to stay on his feet. He dived in. He didn't make the challenge. And as soon as Surendran Bazay went past him, they were in big, big trouble, because it left Salif Sane 2v1. Florian Niederlechner made a decent run, gave Sane a problem, and what a finish it was from the young man to score his first Bundesliga goal.
Certainly was. Opened his body up beautifully, bent it with power into the top corner. Schubert didn't even move. questions will continue to be asked of David Wagner. I had a very, very interesting conversation yesterday with European football expert Andy Brassel, who was working alongside me for the Dortmund game as just a break in play because Grueso has needed a little bit of treatment. He's off behind the goal. He talked about, I don't know if your thoughts on this, Chris, but obviously we're in a situation where finances are very, very tight, and he just wondered whether that might give coaches, beleaguered coaches, longer in their jobs than under normal circumstances, because it's expensive to fire people, isn't it? It's expensive to get rid of whole backroom staff and the whole works.
Well, you have to pay off the staff that are already there. You obviously have to bring in new staff, and it is expensive, absolutely. Or it'll open up opportunities for coaches from within to maybe come into clubs from the youth systems, which they actually like to do a lot in Germany.
They do it a lot in Germany, you're absolutely right. And of course, David Wagner has, had a history with Schalke himself as a player. Won the UEFA Cup with Schalke back in the 90s. Nowhere close to that at the moment. As things stand, they won't be getting into it, or as it's now called the Europa League. Ball is with Levent Merchan, stepping into the Augsburg half from that deep-lying central, almost defensive position. Kenny swings the ball into the box towards Benito Raman. It just drops kindly for Luther. Raman's boots come off.
Wasn't he? Always going backwards for the header. It was always a little bit over his head. He did well to get anything on it at all, guide it on target, but it was never going to beat Luther.
4 Bundesliga goals for Raman since arriving in Gelsenkirchen from Fortuna Düsseldorf to great fanfare, actually. He was actually linked with Everton at one stage in the summer prior to his move to a different club that play in blue. Merchan has it for Schalke. They've got 8.5 minutes plus stoppage time to save themselves from yet another defeat. This might be the worst of the lot, Kenny gets it back from Boujalab, but it's behind him. The Englishman picks it up ahead of Soren Bazet. Kenny didn't make the run, but it has fallen kindly for Boujalab. Kenny up against Max now. Manages to dig out a cross, easy away by Richter. Richter finds only Sane, though. Schalke have 11 men inside the Augsburg half, down the right-hand side. Boujalab tries the cross. Max makes the block, and then I think as well as team a goal kick, it was brilliant. Kenny, second to the ball, bounces off him. Goal kick. 2 more changes for Augsburg to come, and we are going to see Sergio Cordova here, I think.
Reece Oxford.
And Reece Oxford as well is coming on, the man who arrived from West Ham, and Florian Niederlechner is coming off as well. Reece Oxford has not had an awful lot of football. He's coming on for Grueso, and he will probably, we'd have thought, go into midfield as well, where he looked so composed when he arrived on the scene against Arsenal, if you remember, for West Ham as a central midfield player, given his debut on the first day of the season in a game that West Ham won so brilliantly, and he's just looked like he was a star of England's future, didn't he? But opportunities didn't quite come for him.
Yeah, he's made the move, hasn't he? Hasn't quite worked out for him as he'd have liked. Been to a couple of clubs now in Germany, and it hasn't really happened for him, but he'll be hoping that he can impress here in the last probably 7 minutes of normal time plus a little bit of added time.
First Bundesliga appearance since November for the Englishman, London born. And Cordova as well is on the striker, who will hails from Venezuela and take up the running that Niederlechner has been doing for the Fugerstädter up to this point. So now 3 changes for Augsburg, 4 for Schalke. Not one of them that's come on has made any difference. Merchan has it, defensive midfield position, just brought down there. Moravec in the midfield, smacked away by Nastasic, headed away for Augsburg by Framberg. Up the line it goes for Richter. Richter now. Chance to cross, but there's nobody in the box, so he plays it short. Gets it back, a little 1-2. Works it into the space for Philip Max. Opens up, shoots, puts it over the crossbar.
Why not? Why not? 2-0 up. Wasn't a line in the box, was there? He's got a very good left foot.
Capable of that, isn't
Yeah,
he?
absolutely.
7 goals from left back this season. Although, to be fair, he has played left side of midfield a reasonable amount as well. But goals today from Leuven and Seren Bazet have been the difference. Augsburg looking good under Heiko Herrlich. Here is Seren Bazet, left-hand side. Brought down by Bujalab, but no foul, says the referee. Kenny moves it in field. I think his confidence is shot a bit, Kenny, at the moment. He's given the ball away on numerous occasions.
There's not many players out there in a Schalke shirt that look like that they've got confidence. Sane, I would say, has got confidence. Nastasic actually hasn't looked too bad, but there's a lot of players out there that are struggling.
4 and a bit minutes left for play. Be interested to hear your thoughts on, I mean, it's unofficial, but who your thoughts on man of the match would be? I'm assuming they'd be in a red shirt.
Absolutely. Well, you can't pick a Schalke player. They've been pretty awful in the 85 minutes so far. I mean, can they turn it around a free kick here where they'll be able to deliver a ball somewhere close to the box? But I think I'd have to give it to probably Leuven. I know he's not on the pitch now, but the goal was absolutely outstanding, the free kick.
There's Kenny's delivery into the box. It's going to be a miserable afternoon for the man on loan from Augsburg. That ball might be a bit short back to Schubert. No, he's well outside of his area to receive Leverkusen's pass. Good running again by Richter.
That's the difference between the front two of Augsburg and the front two of Schalke. They've played centrally. They've run their socks off. Marco Richter, Florian Niederlechner have really worked hard. They've held the ball up for their team. They've brought others into play. They've been a focal point, whereas Gregoric and Matondo for long periods in this game have really struggled to do that.
Well, it was just the wrong selection, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, the shape hasn't worked. The team selection hasn't worked. Nothing has worked for Schalke. It's been an abject performance.
I would argue that this performance is potentially a sackable offence for someone in the form that Schalke are in under normal circumstances.
To lose 9 games in a row.
Or, yeah, fail to win at least.
Yeah, to fail to win in 9 games, that's a sackable offence, surely. For a club that size.
It's the longest winless run in the Bundesliga. After today now
I mean, you could argue that he hasn't got the players to do anything else. I mean, you look at what they've brought on today.
Well, he's got
Bujalab.
Why is he not giving Coutinho a game? They cannot score a goal and he's not playing it.
Merchant, young talent. Raman, unproven really, one decent season. You know, they're a squad that is actually, when you look at it, really poor.
Yeah. I mean, last week I was prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt for that purpose when they were playing Dortmund, you know, because of who they were against. As Augsburg have a free kick, this one is too far out for a shot, I would have thought, for Max. He's definitely looking to deliver one in, I think. Yeah, that's the ball in towards the end file. Was a good ball, just a bit ahead of the Croatian defender. And it's behind for a goal kick. We're into the last 2 minutes of the game. But I was just to finish the point. Schalke nearly the architects of their own downfall again. But Merchan, Nastasic and Sane managed to work it away. Just to finish that point, as I was saying, I was going to give them the benefit of the doubt last week because they are just a far weaker squad and a far poorer side than Dortmund. But this is Augsburg at home.
Absolutely. And it's not the forward players like player on the ball now, Merchant, who looks, there's some decent young talent coming through at Schalke, but what they need is
stick them in. Might as well.
Well, they're able to do it because they're not going to go down. They're fortunate in that respect that they're not going to go down.
Luther, awkward clearance away as it got volleyed back to him, and he's had to volley that into behind his own goal for a corner to Schalke.
But you might as well play Coutinho up front. You might as well play Matondo. Start these players now and give them the experience that they're going to want to hopefully be better next season and in the future.
The only question is, I mean, you're right, they're not going to go down, but you know, can you do more damage than good by sort of effectively associating these young players with this terrible run, this terrible team? Chipka to take this corner, far side, the Schalke right, in swinging delivery, and it'll go towards Sane, header away by Udokai. For me, he's not far off a man of the match.
He's done well, he's made some crucial blocks at times, hasn't he? Edmund's been good alongside him as well.
Richter goes down under a Coutinho challenge. It's going to be a free kick to Augsburg, I'd have thought, into the final minute of normal time.
There's been some good performances in red shirts today.
Richter walks away from that challenge, hobbling a little bit, but the faces of the Schalke players on the benches not wearing masks. And, I want a mask that covered my whole face if I was walking out in a Schalke tracksuit today, because tell you what, I mean, there were fears that fans would come and celebrate victories and stuff outside of grounds of these ghost games as we move into 3 minutes of stoppage time. I'd be worried about fans coming out to protest.
Absolutely. They'd have every right to protest.
Stay indoors, remember, supporters, members of the public. These are very sterilised atmospheres around the Bundesliga at the moment. The only good thing for Schalke at the moment is that there aren't fans in the stadium, because they would be booing. It's been terrible. 2-0 down. Deep into stoppage time. They've given away another chance. Sergio Cordova 1-on-1 with the keeper. He's rounded him and completed an absolutely horrible afternoon for Schalke. It's 3-0 to Augsburg. Sergio Cordova gifted the chance to run through on Marcus Schubert, rounds him and scores his second Bundesliga goal of the season. This has been a rout now. Schalke 0, Augsburg 3.
It's so bad, isn't it? They've given 2 goals away. They really have. There's been one moment of quality from Leuven, but then real mistake from Merchant, gets caught in possession. He's not used to playing in that role. You can see he's not comfortable receiving the ball with his back to goal there. Quickly in on him was Cordova, who's got fresh legs, real composure to take the ball round Schubert and then slot it home with his left foot. But it's a calamity again for Schalke. It's been a calamitous performance. I put that down as 12 individual mistakes now this season have cost them goals. I mean, that's unthinkable as a coach to allow that to happen.
Well, yeah, it could be one of the things that David Wagner can point to and say, well, look, what can I do if players are making
those individuals that are making the mistakes? And you could argue that he can't pick anyone else, but that's your job as a coach, to make the players better, surely.
It's an embarrassment, frankly, for Schalke. And look, I mean, we're talking all about Schalke. Augsburg have been excellent, but they've just been faced with very little quality.
There's one team out there, there's a team, and they've looked together from the start.
It's been the one thing that they've all talked about Heiko Herrlich. He's got them together. They look like a team. They're working together.
Absolutely.
They're playing together, and they certainly look like it today.
And Schalke need a bit of that. They look like a group of individuals who've never played together before.
They've got possession at the moment into the final minute of the 3 of stoppage time. Gregoritsch with the foul on Kadira.
There's plenty to ponder for David Wagner. He's got a pensive look on his face at the moment, but for me, his team selection was wrong. The shape that he's played has been wrong. Everything about this performance has been wrong.
Mainz against RB Leipzig to come. That kicks off in about 9 minutes' time. We're in the final throes of this one, as Nastasic clears the ball away. Referee should just blow up, put them out of their misery. It's with Schubert. He rushes to the edge of his 18-yard box, and he's not really been at fault today as the final whistle does go. Chris, final thoughts briefly as Augsburg complete a first away win in 6, first goals away in 5, and Schalke now 9 without a win and in deep trouble.
Yeah, it's been a really professional performance from an Augsburg side. They come away, it's the perfect away performance against what has been an absolutely abject Schalke team.
Heiko Herrlich with his first victory in charge of Augsburg then, in what's officially his second game in charge, but he's actually been in the dugout for this one.